So tonight we're going to talk about our favorite TV shows, whether it's growing up or whatever we want to talk about. So who wants to kick it off or something? Let's, Daniel, what do you want to talk about TV show wise? Start it off for us tonight.
All right, so I'll tell you what. This is the end of the week for you. This is Thursday for me. I still got one more day. But back when I was a kid, when we were all kids, there was a thing on Friday nights that was called TGIF. And TGIF was, thank goodness it's Friday, and it was a 2-hour block of basically sitcoms. And that's some of my favorite shows right there. Now, I've got some others that come on throughout the week. I'm a huge TV buff, but TGIF had really, really good shows on. I remember Family Matters was on. Matt, what was some other ones? Yeah, Perfect Strangers was one of them.
Oh, I remember Perfect Strangers. Balky Bartholomew, baby, praise God.
Hanging with Mr. Cooper.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Don't forget Full House. That was the one I think that really kind of started it off, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, Full House was on it for a long time.
Oh, let me say this. Travis is running a little late tonight, and we got our other buddy. You guys haven't met him yet. His name is Dusty, the Big Cat Fry, and he's going to hang out with us tonight. So say hi, Dusty. Introduce yourself.
What's up? I have known this wild and crazy bunch for going on 30 plus years, and it is much to their detriment that I am here, but I will try to do my best I'll try to do my best. That's all I can.
You're gonna do fine, buddy. What was you saying about what was that show you was talking about?
Full House?
Full House. Yeah, Full House is the greatest, man.
Full House is a good show.
Hello.
There he is. Travis has decided to join us.
Well, I had to cook for my children,
Them kids ain't got to eat. What are you talking about?
Fatherly duties and all.
Hello, Domino's.
Hello, Domino's.
Oh, yeah.
I think, when we're talking about shows, I think I've started watching, I've been going through all the seasons of Alf lately. And I'm like,
good Lord.
Yeah, I'm like I'm almost through the fourth season, which was the final season. And I had forgotten all about how funny that show was. And then I forgot about the cartoon that came on NBC back in.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Because it was Alf before Melmac exploded, before he came to live with the Tanners in season 1. And I was like, man, this was really cool. I forgot all about that show and that cartoon on Saturday mornings. And just watching Alf, I was like, man, it was kind of ahead of its time, because with the puppeteering they had to do with Alf, they said they had to do like 20-something hours a day just to make one episode. It was just it's still good.
Let me tell you my memory of Alf. I remember watching Alf when I was in the 2nd grade. That's when it was out. And Alf to this day, it leaves a bad taste in my mouth, because when Alf would come on, it was bedtime when Alf went off. So I always associate that with it, man. I got to go to bed as soon as this show goes off, man. So I always hated it when Alf come on. It was almost bedtime.
Wasn't that one of the first shows that I can remember that they kind of canceled it right on a cliffhanger?
They did.
They did, yes.
They did the season finale where he's like surrounded by all the government guys, and then they just never renewed it. So it was just, he just got kind of left hanging.
Yeah, they never told you what happened to Alf. Yeah,
they did a movie.
I didn't know that. I don't remember watching the last season. So
yeah, they did a movie that was 6 years later, where, because the cliffhanger was he was supposed to go meet some people to get back to space, but it was NASA and the federal government that surrounded him, and that's how the show ended. But 6 years later, ABC had picked it up and did a 2-hour movie where Alf was incarcerated by NASA and all these scientists, and the Tanners had been put in Iceland in the witness protection program. So it was about how they were studying Alf and what he could do and stuff like that. But at the end of the movie, he ended up being like an ambassador to the world.
Really?
Aliens,
Oh, wow.
yeah. So it was
That's
actually
pretty
decent.
cool.
You know
Yeah, it
what
was
they
actually
charged him
pretty
with
decent.
when they incarcerated him? You know what they charged him with?
What's that?
Alf wasn't paying no taxes.
Yeah,
That's how they got Al Capone too. They don't play
Yeah, I was
around
gonna
with
say they got
taxes.
him on RICO law.
Yeah, man. He's
Rico.
probably he's racking
Getting
up-
Alf like to eat cats. Wasn't that his
Yeah.
favorite food?
Yeah, he's
Yeah, he
fighting
likes that.
cats out there in the backyard, racketeering, and
If you think about that, because when he first came out, NBC had a problem because he was drinking beer and he was eating cat, which was a euphemism for something else.
Right, right.
sounds like a red-blooded American to me.
Right.
Yeah.
So NBC had a problem with that, and they're like, "Hey, you got to tone this down. We can't be doing that."
Hey, listen, it grows whole babies in 9 months. How could it not be nutritious? You know, I mean,
It cost a lot of money over 18 years, though.
So that
Yeah,
was
yeah, well,
It
just
don't
don't
stop, it
make her
don't stop at
mad.
18. It don't stop at 18. It keeps
Yeah,
growing.
that's true.
Don't make her mad. You ain't gotta give her half. You know.
so that was
Yeah.
about what, 86, 87 when Alf was out.
Yeah, it lasted
yeah.
until '89, I believe, because there was 4
About
seasons.
4 seasons, wasn't it?
I think it
Yeah.
lasted maybe '89 or '9. And keep in mind, it also had a 50-issue Marvel comic book run too.
Really?
I had
Didn't know
all
that.
the
Wow.
issues.
See, I
Trivia
probably
Alf
watched.
Carnosaur, man.
I
Wow.
probably
Trivia, what
watched Alf Tales
Trivia, what was,
on
what was
Saturday
Alf's
morning
real
more
name?
than I actually watched Alf.
Yeah, because
Man,
you
it
had
was
Alf, and then you
autobiography,
had
man.
Alf Tales that came on after that.
Dang, I ain't never heard of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Alf
All right.
Tales, that was one of them later shows that come on. It come on about 11 o'clock or something, 11:30.
hmm
Yeah, I was probably done in bed by 11:30 at night.
No. I mean on Saturday mornings. It come
Oh,
on
yeah.
11 a.m., 11:30, something like that.
Well, that's
Well,
awesome.
what-
I mean, go ahead, Dusty.
I was just gonna say I can remember the 11:30 time slot because you knew it when it was 12 o'clock because you always got like I would always get the old it was Channel 5 in Memphis, the old territory Jerry Jarrett used to have, but they would show a rebroadcast. This first time I saw Jerry the King Lawler was 12 o'clock. It was the wrestling, and it was like,
Oh,
but
yeah.
not WWE. It was
What was it called?
replay of
Every
Channel
time
5
he's-
out of Memphis.
Every time he started that sentence with the old, I keep thinking about Family Guy. Give him to the old Pringles can. The old Pringles can.
Oh, wait, let me tell you something about a show. When we talk about shows from my childhood, to me, it always goes to the Wonder Years. I can remember Wonder Years would come on. I would be, Lord, I don't even remember what grade. I was probably 6th, 7th grade, something like that. Wonder Years would come on. Right after Wonder Years, Doogie Howser, MD would come on. And
Yeah.
those were my two shows that I absolutely loved because everything Kevin Arnold was going through on the show, we was kind of going through at the same time because it's kind of, we were the same age he was in the show,
Yeah.
And I flat out loved that show to this day. I love that show.
I just wanted Winnie Cooper
Yeah, Winnie Cooper was
Amen.
awesome too.
in a bad way, like real bad.
So
I want to move to
Doogie
Hollywood.
Howser, so Wonder Years came on from like 8 to 9 because it was an hour-long
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
And then Doogie Howser was 30 minutes. It's 9 to 9:30. And when I was a kid, my bedtime was 9:30. So all of them shows that come on at 9 o'clock, that's what you're talking about with leaving a bad taste in your mouth.
Yeah.
I remember, if it wasn't for my little brother that wouldn't get up in the mornings, I could have stayed up till 10.
It's all
Right.
Richie's fault.
Yeah, by
Because-
that time I could stay up as late as I wanted to by the time I got to 6th, 7th grade. But back when Alf was going on, I was in the 2nd grade and they made me go to bed right after Alf. I hate that show to this day because of
Oh,
that.
no, man, my mom wouldn't quit having kids, so I was the oldest one. I was the oldest
man.
one, and that was always a freaking bedtime at my
Well,
house.
but she was
Dang.
born a Hughes, man. We are professional breeders.
Yeah.
That's-
Yeah.
We really took that. We really took that chapter in the Bible. It said, "Go forth and multiply." We took that to heart, son.
Yes, you did. That's a true statement.
That's how we
Now,
roll.
can you- just out of curiosity, because I know we're talking about TV and just kind of a little aside, but with the Wonder Years, was there a better opening song that fit.
What would I do with a
Yeah,
sing
with
attitude? Yeah,
the
man.
Joe Cocker version, a little help from my friends. Dude, that song got stuck in my head. It's still
Well,
stuck in my head.
It's
still
stuck in my
it's
head right now.
It's a
But
good song.
When Tina
Yeah.
Turner sung that opening line, Ike Turner would say, "Hit you in the eye." When she asked, "What would you do?" And that's a true story, man. Look it up.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
If she
back there-
sang out of
he-
tune.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
she's like, "What would you do if I sang out of tune?" He's like, "Hit you in the eye." Like, yeah, I mean, cold blooded
Oh.
for that.
I didn't
Eat
know
the pie,
that.
Eula May. Eat the pie. Eat the pie, Eula May.
Yeah, back there strumming the guitar, balling his fist up. Girl, you better not sing out of tune. I wish somebody would have beat me into superstardom. Michael Jackson got beat by Joe Jackson. I got the beatings, but I didn't never get superstardom.
Yeah, it
My
must have
parents
passed
didn't
you
have
by,
enough
buddy.
ambition. Yeah, they didn't have enough ambition for me. It's just like, man, got to take out some aggression. We don't care where it goes from here.
Oh, what's another show could we talk about besides the Wonder Years? Or I could go to the TV show of Destiny wheel over here.
Before we
The
go to the
Simpsons.
Wheel of Destiny, you got the Simpsons, what Travis just said. I was going to say Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Oh, I love that
Ooh.
show too. I still remember when that show went off air. The final episode was terrible. It was so sad, man. It would make everybody cry, man. When the Fresh Prince went off, he's just standing there in the living room with all the furniture gone by himself.
Yeah,
Dang, man.
Got to go
The
back to
family-
Philadelphia.
family done had enough of his bull crap, huh? They left.
Just
They
him
said
and
no.
DJ Jazzy Jeff hanging out.
They said, y'all make
Summertime.
this house payment. We out.
Yeah. I bet we couldn't afford the light bill in that place.
God, I know it.
That's a good size outfit. I'm turning out lights in my little hubble I got, man. I couldn't imagine living somewhere like that.
I mean, the one good thing that did come out of it, I did appreciate getting to see Sherman Helmsley. 'Cause Sherman Helmsley before he passed away, because that was one of the last things he did on TV. So
Now, who was Sherman Helmsley? Is that Uncle Phil?
Yeah, that was
George Jefferson.
Oh, wait.
Oh.
George Jefferson. They're the
Oh,
ones that
yeah.
George and Wheezy were the ones that bought the house because they were moving
Right.
from New York to California.
That's moving on up.
Yeah, they're moving on up. Because I grew up watching a lot of those old shows. So when I saw George Jefferson, I mean, I kind of popped a little bit. I was a little bit of a mark, but I was like, it's George Jefferson.
Yeah,
Madonna,
Uncle,
that's
Phil,
awesome.
It sounded like
Uncle Phil did the voice for Shredder on
Yeah.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
He was in Grey's Anatomy too. Everybody does
Yeah.
Grey's Anatomy right before they die in real life. If they ever call me, hey man, you want to be a patient? No, bro, I'm good. I'm in tremendous health.
James Avery.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's who it was. Yeah.
If you get a cold call from somebody that works at Grey's Anatomy, just don't answer the phone because you might die on the phone call.
Yeah,
That's
that's
everybody.
how they need real acting. That's why they call you. They need somebody that's real
You're on
good and
life
sick.
support. You're hired.
Yeah.
I
I won't even
think
have to
one
put
of
makeup
my-
on this guy.
So you're never
I
going to
think
see
one of my
Keith Richards
favorites
on
growing
Grey's
up-
Anatomy, is what you're saying.
And no, because he'll be here. He was here before the earth was made, and he'll be here after the earth was made. When Adam and Eve rolled up in the Garden of Eden, it's like, hey, who's that? God's like, I don't know. He was here when I got here.
I still ain't figured this guy out.
No.
Yeah, I've tried everything. He made it through the plague. I love it. He's still here.
Now, here's one thing I just noticed. I'm searching around on the Wheel of Destiny here. You guys remember the movie Weird Science, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It looks like there was a TV show that had 5 seasons.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
on
it was
USA.
on.
I
It
didn't
was on
watch
USA.
I didn't watch it. I didn't too much care for it.
Somebody
Yeah,
tell
it was
me
on,
about it.
I watched
it
it,
was
and
on-
it was
I mean,
not that good.
The only good part that came out of it was Vanessa Angel. She was the model girl that came out of the computer.
Yeah.
Huh.
Instead of Kelly LeBron.
And she was,
Yeah.
she when that TV show, she was at 14 minutes and 58 seconds of her 15 minutes of fame. So
Dang.
Well, and USA is the king of the networks that will take a movie and make a series out of it, like the Dead Zone. They did
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And the movie was cool, but they, then they got dude from the Breakfast Club to
Michael
be
Hall.
Yeah, John Michael Hall or something.
Anthony.
Yeah.
Michael.
Yeah, same.
Anthony
that's what I
Michael
said.
Hall. Yeah.
Yeah, Anthony and Michael. It's the same name. It's just
Yeah, same difference.
Yeah, same.
Well, now
Spelled the
it's
same.
not like USA had bad shows, because they had a show
No.
on called Forever Night about that vampire that was a cop.
Yeah, it
That
was good.
I liked it.
Well, and Quantum Leap, man.
Yeah, Quantum Leap.
Quantum Leap ruled, dude. I love
Yeah,
that
I
show.
forgot all about that show till just now. That and Wings. I used to watch both those.
I love Wings.
What
Still
was
do.
Wings about?
There was an airport these two brothers owned in Nantucket, and it was just a little bitty airport, but they had the Thomas Hayden Church?
Thomas Hayden Church.
Yeah.
He was in Tombstone for a hot minute, but he was the resident dummy. You know, you always got to have an idiot on any of them shows, you know. But he was pretty good. And the pretty chick, I don't even know what her name was.
Her name was the chick that played her was Crystal Bernard, and the name she played was Helen Chapel.
Yeah, she's good times. I mean, she's pretty to look at, but I just knew she's too old for me, and you know, I didn't have no job. She didn't want nothing to do with me, and Edward.
But I tell you, a show that I liked growing up too was Night Court.
Yeah,
The
Night Court was
original,
awesome.
love the
I
original.
liked it.
Cat.
John
Larroquette,
Larroquette,
who else
he-
was in that?
John Larroquette, Richard Mall,
Yeah.
who played
Bull.
who played Bull Shannon.
Yep.
Um,
And then
Harry,
it had
Harry Anderson.
Marky
Who
That
was
was
Post.
the judge. Was
who
that
was
the
the
judge?
other
Touchstone,
bailiff?
yeah.
Who was the other bailiff?
Marsha Warfield.
Yeah, Marsha Warfield.
Marsha Warfield, because she had a little daytime talk show for a while after Night Court went off the air, and then she just kind of.
She was also on the very first episode of Saved by the Bell, because she was the one when the bell rang and she was talking to Zach and Slater, and she said, "You
Yep.
boys just got saved by the bell."
I didn't know that.
Yeah, she was on the first episode.
Wow.
But
Now-
actually, okay, so Saved by the Bell was a continuation of another show that was on that was called
Sorry,
Good
Miss
Morning-
Bliss. or
Good
something.
Morning, Miss Bliss or something.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Saved by the Bell was like a reimagining of that show, Good Morning,
Yeah.
Miss Bliss. And they kept Screech and Zach,
Yeah.
and I think that was it from that show, right?
Yeah, because back then Slater was doing Kids Incorporated, if
Yeah.
you remember that show.
Yeah,
From
and Screech was
Saturday
willing to do anything for a buck, buddy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
As long as he could make his house payment, he didn't care what he did.
Yeah, lights are
No,
on.
he
Let's
was-
go. I'll be there.
Yeah, they I actually got to see him do stand up at
That's not where I thought that was going.
no,
You seen him
that
beat
was-
that chicken.
that was later. No, like I said, anything for a buck, right? $20 is $20. But
That's right.
no, I got to see
said
him
that,
at
I didn't.
you know,
He told me
hey,
he
this
loved me.
ain't this ain't an Alabama hat. So, but no, I got to see him at Side Splitters in Knoxville. He had come up here. This was like the last last show he did before he got arrested.
Really?
Yeah,
It's time.
one of the last shows he did before he got arrested. He shanked a guy in Indianapolis, but no, he was actually really, really cool. We bought him a couple of shots. He told some stories and stuff. Yeah, some of the, but he was telling the story like he was on a TV show called Celebrity Fit Club, where they
Yeah.
would take these old celebrities that were out of shape and they would put them through their paces and try to get them back in shape and stuff, and they'd win so much money for charities and stuff.
That was
He
on
said,
VH1,
he said-
I think.
Yes.
One of the music channels.
Yeah, they said they paid every year every season they had to have a bad guy. They had to have a heel. So they offered him an extra $75,000 just to be an ass.
Huh.
I
He's
do
like-
that for nothing every day. I'm missing out.
He's like, I didn't give a damn. I got a mortgage to pay. I mean,
Are you outside, Dusty?
I am outside. It is too nice of a night out here, and I was working on finishing up my fire pit I bought for Christmas, and
He's in the witness protection.
that's
Yeah.
it.
He's
I was wondering where I was
He
hearing
looks like-
crickets at.
He looks like King Harley Race when he was giving up all the secrets to wrestling on that show. He's got his face blacked out. He's like, oh yeah, we used to do razor cutting.
Well, most people would say I look better in the dark. I do have a face for radio.
Well,
But
yeah, that is your good side there in the dark. I see it.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, the dark is absolutely my best side.
Yeah.
So I was
All
doing
right,
steaks
well,
earlier for my kid. So I was going to put the headphones on. I was like, no, man, there's cicadas out here. This dude's out here building fire pits and planning his next body to bury next to it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Travis, what did you think? What did you think about The Simpsons?
I like The Simpsons, man. It was. There
I
wasn't
think
a
they
lot
can
of,
tell the future.
There wasn't a lot of cartoons like. There was no cartoons in the evening for kids. So it come out, I was in like second or third grade. I thought it was great. So that's what got me into drawing is I'd try to draw them because they was pretty simple to draw. But I always thought it was cool. I just liked it because Bart was a smart ass and I was a smart ass kid. So I could relate to that. I had a little sister that you couldn't understand what she said either, because she was little. I mean, I was like the interpreter for the first 3 or 4 years of her life. But yeah, I mean, I could just relate to it because mom and dad run the place and we was just living there. You know what I mean? We was typical 80s family. Mom and dad worked, we fended for ourselves, tried not to kill each other while they was gone. And that's kind of how Bart and Lisa and all of them were.
It was a good show. I liked it.
Do you think it's went on too long though?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
definitely
run its
a
course,
There's
definitely.
definitely a shelf life. I mean, 20 something years is way
Oh,
too
no, we're
long for
30.
any show. Well,
Yeah,
same
they're
thing. Same thing,
35.
man. I was 12 yesterday. I woke up this morning. I was 44. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that show is older than every one of the kids that I coach in football. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and probably will still be on when their kids are my age.
Oh yeah.
Well, here's another question I have for everybody. How long, because we've all watched TV shows our whole life, and a lot of times when you get toward the end, they're just kind of stupid. So how long do you think a show goes until it just, how many seasons do you think is appropriate for a show?
It depends on the writing. If the writing's good,
10 years to me is a good, if you've got a good writer, because like you said, the end seasons kind of get stupid. You can tell when a show starts running out of ideas about season 4 or 5, and then, I think we'd stretch it another 6 seasons. I understand dude needs a check, but you can't beat a dead horse. It's dead. Let it rest in peace. You know what I'm saying? I think about 10 years. If you've got a good writer, you make it that long. But I think there needs to be just as much emphasis on the ending of a show as there is coming up with it and during the process of writing it.
and I agree with that too, because there's so many shows that just end so badly.
Well, like you talking about Alf, it just, it ended and dudes was surrounded around him. Why end it like that if you ain't got a contract ready for the next season? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just give
Is
them
there-
some closure.
Was there a reason why they ended that show like that? Anybody know anything about it?
What happened is the ratings had started going way down, and NBC was not going to renew the contract. So they just went ahead and did it like that. They knew they weren't coming back. What's funny is about Night Court, when Night Court ended, I think it was the 7th season. It was over. They'd already tied up all the plot lines and everything. But the next year, Friends was supposed to take its time slot. Well, Friends wasn't done. They couldn't get it. They couldn't get all the episodes done. So they had to bring back the cast from Night Court to do one more season, which they had to undo all the plot lines they had already, sewed up. So the last season of Night Court made no sense. John Larroquette said they threw so much money at them to come back for one more season that they couldn't say no. And it was all because Friends wasn't
They
done.
just handed them all blank checks written out to cash.
That was like
Even Friends was the same way. Like I watched Friends, Mom used to love that show, so I watched it all through high school. And I mean, I liked the show, but there toward the end, they was kind of getting, let's just throw all this in to the melting pot, see what comes out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They kind of
Yeah.
got done with it. I think a lot of shows do that. The Sopranos, I thought, well, the Sopranos will last 30 years. They had so much stuff to draw from as far as writing, and then they just end it with the screen going black. And I thought, man, this is 8 years of my life I'll never get back.
Yeah, that was bad.
But if you
that-
pay attention to the show at the beginning of that season, they asked Tony Soprano, so what do you think happens when you die? And he said, I think it just goes black. I don't think there's any music. I don't think there's any light. It just goes black. And that's how the show ended. So that told me dude got killed.
Yeah.
Because
It was somebody walked into the diner behind.
But you know, that was at the very first episode of that season. We supposed to remember that. You know, they could have touched up on that a little bit, little foreshadowing, a little more foreshadowing than just the first episode of the season.
I loved it all up to the last season. I just didn't care for the last season. That and Game of Thrones did the same thing. The whole last.
Don't tell me. I haven't seen it yet. Don't tell me.
Oh,
spoilers.
Can't talk about it. Can't talk about it.
I'm gonna tell you everything about it, Cork. You can't get away from me in football practice, son.
Dude, here's what I know.
And I'll tell you,
Everybody loved Game of Thrones, but everybody hated that last season, so it must be bad.
I'm telling you
can't
straight.
see it.
Give it to me straight.
dude.
Enjoy
Don't
it up
watch
until
anything
season 6.
past the next to the last season, whatever it is, season 6 or season 7, whatever that next to the last season is.
Yeah.
Just end it there. Don't waste your time with the last season.
Is it that bad?
It's
man?
that
God.
freaking bad,
Well,
man.
The whole last
Because,
season
yeah,
is damn
because
near
they-
a battle that happens at night that you can't even see.
No, you
That's
can't
what I
see
hear,
what's
so you
going on.
can't even see it. Yeah.
And that so the man
Looks
don't
like
get
Dusty
me on
over
this.
there.
So, okay, Matt knows as a writer, okay, because I write too. Okay, as a writer, you have a character that you write, and that character behaves a certain way. Okay, so
Mhm.
this is what the character would do, and so as you follow that character along, if you write something out of the ordinary for that character, okay, then you know it doesn't feel right. It doesn't fit. So you can't write out of character for your character. And Game of Thrones completely just went off the rails with it.
Oh, they screwed the pooch. They
I think
caught
they did that. I think they did that a couple seasons before that with Arya. You know, they just kind of, well, let's have her go this direction. Like her story didn't even make sense with the rest of everybody else's or where she started from.
Well, I like how Arya ended up. I think she, I think her character arc was really good. So
They just didn't know where, they just didn't know what path to take her to get there was the
Well,
problem.
didn't they caught the source material at what season? About season 5, season 6.
So
when they caught up to the book.
Yeah, so when they caught up to the book was that big battle in Winterfell it was called the Battle of the Bastards.
The bastards. Yep.
That was somewhere around where George R.R. Martin had ended his books, and he hadn't picked anything else up from there. So HBO kind of just took it and run. And
Yeah, the bees, Benioff or whatever his name is. Yeah, season 7 and 8 was.
This is a PG-13 show, Dusty. You can't say beating off on the.
I did. Well, I can't.
Yeah,
I couldn't remember. I couldn't remember.
I'll edit it out.
Y'all screwed up inviting me if it's PG-13. We're in trouble here.
No, it ain't PG.
man.
We're going full on attitude era. No.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of which, they're going on Netflix, man.
Uncensored, baby.
Yes, I wish they'd have had that in the 90s, man. That'd have been the best ever. I mean, it was damn near uncensored on USA anyway.
What was?
On the WWE.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to Netflix, man, uncensored.
Mm-hmm.
That's good times.
How are they going to promote that for kids, though?
It ain't.
They ain't, no,
The
guess.
kids ain't
It's not
no
kid.
more.
It's not been kid friendly in 20 years.
Yeah, we the last kids that ever watched those shows, man.
We were some tough kids.
That's that's why the ratings go up when The Rock comes back, because we're still living. Like, if I listen, there's a football player plays for me that's been playing since he was born, and he wanted the number 4 jersey.
Oh, God, yeah.
And I said, "Oh man, you a Brett Favre fan?" He said, "I don't even know who that is." Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Give me.
I almost kicked him off the team right then. I almost just throwed him off the team right then.
Oh, right in the childhood.
I gave him homework. You better go home and YouTube Brett Favre, right? And he'll never know how to spell it. It's Favre.
Yeah.
What I should have said.
Well, to be fair, Brett can't spell it either. So
No, and he's from Mississippi. He must be from. His people must have been from Louisiana or something.
Yeah, that's a Cajun name right there, if I ever heard one.
All right, so are you gonna fire the wheel up?
You know I can fire the wheel up. Who wants to go first?
Hey, does that Wheel of Destiny have like a conspiracy theory? You got a conspiracy theory wheel?
I can make a wheel out of anything, buddy. Let's just start that right now.
Well, listen, if I ever get cancer from all these things here I smoke, I want a wheel of death. How about that?
Well, we can work that out too.
That'd be good times.
So who wants to go first? I'll spin the wheel right now. Who wants to go first?
Daniel does.
the radio show I used to listen to. They used to do celebrity death. Who was going to be the next to die, and what they were going to die of.
That's great.
Wow.
I bet Keith Richards never came up on there.
No. They all called that a sucker's bat. Actually, I think they're off the air now. It was Lex and Terry. They were out of Jacksonville. Then they moved to Texas, and then I kind of lost. I lost the radio show.
Mm. All right, Daniel, you ready?
Spin it, dude.
All right, here we go. Let me get it warmed up yet. Start the motor. All right, here we go.
That noise is the only reason I come back every week.
Yeah, I know it. Okay, bro. It's from Nickelodeon, a show called All That.
Oh,
I didn't watch it. Didn't it have Keenan and Kale in it?
I'm sure it did. Yeah.
Yeah, it did.
that
I
was.
don't know much about that one either.
That's going to be
That's a show.
early '90s, mid '90s, something like that. And it was
That's where Amanda Bynes came from. That's where she got her break.
so.
Yeah.
I watched a lot of shows,
That's where she
but
got
I
her
did
first
not watch
boyfriend
that.
from
That
the
was
director,
kind
too.
of it was kind of a sketch
That's where-
comedy.
Where
Right.
Dan Snyder started.
Yeah, it was a sketch
his
comedy.
His alleged thing. Yeah, it was like a preteen SNL.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
I know enough about it that it was sketch comedy. It was sometime in the '90s, but I never did watch it.
Yeah, it was sketch comedy, and I believe the producer made passes to all the little girls that was playing on it at the same time. But
Well,
that's
that
for
sounds
another.
about right.
That's for another podcast.
Dan Snyder, he was actually on an old TV show tying back. He was on Head of the Class back in the late '80s.
Yeah, he was. Yep. Matt, wake up. You ready?
Good.
I'm going to give you. Okay, here we go. Dang, Matt may like this one. Batman the Animated Series.
He gets Batman, and I got.
Hey, man, the wheel speaks. I don't, baby.
That's got down for me, man. That's bull.
We're all at the mercy of the wheel.
Last week was RoboCop. This week is Batman.
Go on with Batman, because that's good. That's a good show.
I'm going to tell you something about Batman animated series. First off, that is like the best Batman voice cast ever.
Preach. That is awesome.
Is that the one that's got Mark Hamill as the Joker?
Yes.
Yeah. You got Kevin Conroy, who is just so iconic, and that cast was so good that they did the Batman Arkham trilogy video games.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Good. So when you play the Arkham games, it's like playing the Batman animated series. It's just it's so good. But what I like about the animated series is it took off that cue from Tim Burton's 1989 Batman, and it had that noir feel to it. You know, you can still watch. I watched it not too long ago. I watched like the first season, and it still holds up good today. I own like the whole set,
I've
And
got
man,
the collection too. It's
I just go through and pop it in and just let it run. I mean, you've got all the classics in there. You got Joker, you got Scarecrow, Clayface, I think the Mr. Freeze episode where it shows his origin is probably the best episode out of that whole series.
Oh yeah.
Well, and don't forget that was the show that brought Harley Quinn into into the mainstream.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, Harley was supposed to be just a kind of a one-off side character, and I don't know whether it was Arlene Sorkin that did the voice.
Yeah, she's
That
dead
originally
now.
did the voice. Yeah, she passed away. Whether it was her because she had that real kind of almost New York accent.
Yeah, she was the one that was. That's the Joker.
Yeah, I ain't gonna try to do it. But yeah, and then the popularity just took off. That's where Harley Quinn came from originally.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's cool.
So Matt, are you the one that come up with Bat in the Hood back in the day when we was kids?
I think it was. Well, I was part of it, but I don't know who was helping me because I think Marky and Dan were helping me.
Now, how many books have you wrote? Like 6,000 or something like last week.
Yeah.
Why haven't you wrote a story about Bat in the Hood?
Man, it'd be great to do.
No, listen. I got another character he needs to write a book. I got another character he needs to write a book about. Matt.
What's that?
Buck Deer.
God, I remember that name.
Yeah, you remember Buck Deer?
Yeah.
Who is Buck Deer?
Hey, ask Matt who Buck Naked is.
Your mom, every time she sees me, she says that's how she refers to me.
Yeah, I know it. Every time I talk about it, she's like, "I would tell Buck Naked." I said, "Hey."
Oh yeah, I know the story behind Buck Naked, man. What's
he told Mom that if he was ever going to be a porn star, his name would be Buck Naked. I told her that's funny because mine would be hung low, hung high.
But I remember Buck Deer, but I can't remember. Wasn't he like a gangster?
He was a gangster deer, man.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I don't know why he thought that was so funny, but we would laugh for days about Buck Deer walking into the gym while we were sitting there waiting on class to start.
Did he draw him?
Yeah, he had like a toboggan on, sunglasses, and chains.
Yeah.
I've never heard of this.
This was way back in the day, man.
This is probably 6th, 7th grade.
Yeah, this was way back in the day.
Oh, man,
I actually do remember the name. I don't remember none of the drawings though.
I wasn't privy to those conversations. Y'all was in Inglewood and I was in Etowah City.
I don't even think I knew you at that point, Travis.
I'd already moved away. I was in Mountain View at the time, so.
Oh, right.
I knew you back then. It's just you didn't care about
me and
my buddy until you found out I could play the guitar. If it wasn't for the guitar, I would have no friends whatsoever. That's the truth.
Now, me and Matt did have Batman Pizza. It was a whole skit.
I thought that was
yeah.
good, and
Like
he delivered pizzas.
He delivered pizza. One of his ears was broke off.
Yeah, I remember that now.
Yeah.
He kept.
I remember that now. Yeah, Batman in the Hood.
You had the Batmobile with the little fire in the rear of it. That's
what was it, a gremlin?
That's how he heated the pizza. And it was be there in 30 minutes or your pizza is cold.
Because he was he was so afraid to stop at the house if he would just frisbee it out of the window to the door.
And then when people seen him out, then they wanted to go fight him, beat him up.
Batman.
But
pizza delivery.
But you look at
Bruce
Batman,
Wayne ran out of money.
Yeah.
Some heroes deliver pizzas.
Not all heroes work.
Bruce Wayne's out of money, but he's still trying to get money to fight crime.
And you can't do that on an empty stomach. I mean,
it's a crime to not get your pizza in 30 minutes.
Seriously, you're not going to find another Batman animated show as good as Batman animated series, and they've made a bunch more but that one's the standard.
That was
It's
definitely the best. I'll agree with that. I
That's
agree
the
with that.
best like animated Batman that I've ever seen.
Yeah, they were asking. They were talking to Mark. They were talking to Mark Hamill whenever they were pitching the script for what became The Killing Joke, the movie version. And he said, I thought I was done. He said, I was done with the Joker. I wasn't coming back. And then they handed me a check, and there was a bunch of zeros on it, and I went, well, one more time.
One more time again. Okay, who's next?
Dusty.
You want to go, Dusty?
You scared? You scared?
Yeah.
Dusty,
Yeah,
don't
I-
be scared,
I
man.
didn't
Don't be.
watch a lot of shows when I was little, man.
No, I'm gonna end up with something like Bridgerton, and I'm gonna have to defer to Matt. So,
All right, well, calm down. Let's let the wheel speak. Let's let the wheel speak.
Let the
Okay.
wheel speak.
All right. Let's go. All right, here we go. You ready for me to spin it?
Yeah.
yeah, why not?
Oh my God.
Give it to him. What is it?
Seventh Heaven.
Oh, come on.
Hey,
I
ain't that the
never
show?
seen
Ain't
it,
that
man.
the
I can't
show?
help you out.
Ain't that the show where the dude that was in Dazed and Confused first started? Jeremy Landon or London?
Yes.
Probably,
Jeremy
yeah.
London, yeah. He was actually Jessica Biel's character's husband or boyfriend or something
Okay,
like that.
so I remember Jessica Biel. That's
You
all.
guys have actually seen this show? God.
Yes, the guy that played the dad, Stephen
It's your
Collins,
will.
actually was arrested a few years ago on kid porn charges. He had
Wow.
something in the neighborhood of like a terabyte worth of
Dang.
CP on his computer. Yeah.
What's up with all the what's up with all the pedophilia in Hollywood, man? Come on.
I don't know. I remember. I mean, I remember some of the girl. I mean, I never Jessica Biel. I never thought was really that attractive because she was kind of snobby. But her
Are you
the middle
blind?
sister.
You ain't
the
seen
middle
her in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, boy.
Well, dude, I saw her in Blue Powder when she was a stripper.
That dude, listen, that chick would be hot if she was dead.
Man,
She'll be
she's
hot.
hot. Jessica
Well,
Biel, dude.
what I was gonna say is that the middle daughter, Beverly Mitchell, she was actually in one of the Saw movies, and that's the only thing she ever did. But she was a little bit more curvy, if you know what I'm saying. So
Well.
that kind of that
We
caught
don't
my
know what you're
knows a
saying.
lot about-
We don't know what you're saying.
Dusty
Please
knows a lot
go into
about
detail.
Seventh Heaven.
What? I didn't even hear.
Dusty
Give
knows
us the
a lot about
deets.
Seventh Heaven, which is kind of scaring me because he knows so much about it.
Yeah, it started out as like, I know nobody's seen this show, and then he's telling me the director, all the actors' names, what they done before, where they went to elementary school. I mean,
Yeah, man.
dang.
Spin that wheel.
Actually, no.
Yeah, he doesn't know anything about it though.
Yeah, but he's never seen it, you know. All right, Travis, you ready?
I just
Sure,
you
give it
didn't
to
just watch the girls.
Okay, I'm about to spin for Travis.
It's gonna be
The
Beavis
Will
and Butthead. Watch.
TV show of destiny. Here we go.
I like that
Buffy
sound
the
effect.
Vampire Slayer.
All right, the X-Files.
I have never seen one episode.
Oh, somebody help him
man.
out. Somebody help him out, man. Come on.
Go get him, Spooky. Go get him, Spooky.
God, X-Files, man. X-Files, when it first came out, me and Dusty, I remember, were big fans of that show when it first came out because he actually called me and said, hey, man, there's a new show coming on Fox on Friday nights at 9:00. And I said, what is it? And he starts describing it to me, and I'm like, whoa, this sounds really cool because
Yeah,
it's
baby.
the thing I had ever watched before. So I started getting into it, and I'm like, man, this show had me hooked. And it went on for 9 seasons. Then it went into a hibernation, come out with 2 more seasons, like in 2017, 2018.
Did they really? Okay.
Man, X-Files, it's on my top 5 favorite all time.
Well, see, when I first heard of that show, I thought it was a show that was supposed to come on Cinemax after midnight. You know what I'm saying? And so I turned it on like, hey, man, they really screwed the pooch here. It's on Fox. And I went over and I was like, Alien? Trying to watch no alien porn, man. So, I couldn't get into it. So I just turned it back on Cinemax and went on from there. But we didn't have Cinemax. I just had those squiggly lines you had to go through, and you every now and then you could make out a moan or maybe
Yeah.
a breast chord or something.
Daniel's
You know?
bedroom a few nights. We would get we'd get Cinemax, but you had to really squint and turn down the light, turn
Get
the
naked.
color weird. Because we did that.
So we could actually get it when we stole cable.
Yeah.
So we stole cable for a couple years.
Well,
You know,
hell, we all did because Uncle Sam worked at Cablevision, and he come every time we moved into a house, and he'd climb the pole for us and hook it up for us.
Oh shit!
And never charged us a damn dime.
Well, I tell
he was
you
always
what.
my favorite uncle.
So we had a cookout at the house at where my mom lives, and my dad was like, "Man, I think we need to disconnect the cable because Sam's coming over here. I don't want to cause no trouble." And I'm like, don't take away my cable, Dad. What are you doing? Well, he ended up disconnecting it while Sam was over there, just so he didn't say anything. And then whenever everybody left, he hooked it back up.
Listen, dude would bring the bucket truck, son, and pull it out front and be like, putting it together, man.
I tried to tell him. Our cousin Alan told us a story about whenever he quit Comcast, and he quit for just a short period of time. And he said that he just climbed up on the pole, hooked their cable up, and Comcast caught on to him, and he come undo the cable. And then as they're driving off, Alan said that Sam would be in there getting his climbing gear on, watching it. He goes right back up the pole. And they finally called him and was like, "Hey man, you got to come work for us again because you keep stealing this cable."
Hey, man's got to have something to watch in the evenings, you know.
I never stole cable, but I remember back in the day, I'd always get my DirecTV cards fixed all the time, and them suckers would be wide open. Yeah.
Hey, something else Uncle Sam used to do is, we all had channel 30, the Weather Channel there, when it was Cablevision or whatever, before internet and all that. And it'd give you like the local news across the bottom of the screen. When it was my birthday, he'd put on there "Happy Birthday" to Travis Hughes or what. Yeah, man, he was good to me.
Man, he liked you better than me. They didn't nobody give crap about me.
Dude, we was over there every week, and if we wasn't over there, they was at our house playing Trivia or Pursuit. I mean,
well, see, all right. So you know how things ran on that side of the family anyway. There was always somebody mad at each other.
They either love each other or they want to kill each other.
That's right. So usually
there is no in between.
So usually everybody was mad at my mom, so we got left out of all that stuff.
hey, sometimes the cookouts was at your house, so we play volleyball, all that.
Now I remember, we had a couple of them.
Yeah. All right, who's up next, Matt?
I think it's Daniel.
Oh, it's Daniel. Yeah.
Hey, wait a minute. Wait,
Daniel, yeah.
Wait, hold on. Does Corky not get a turn? Spin it.
Oh, I'm DJing this I'm DJing this, baby.
Oh, yeah, because you'd probably cheat anyway, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would just pick something out that I knew something about.
Look at that, Beavis and Butthead.
Oh, okay, here we go.
Diplomatic immunity.
I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, Daniel. I'm gonna make your genre sci-fi shows about television. You ready?
Okay. All right.
That's a good one.
Give him Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
It's a cartoon called Gargoyles.
Okay, so Gargoyles came on. I don't remember it coming on Saturday mornings. It did come on in the afternoons after school.
Yeah.
I didn't watch it too often, so I can't tell you a whole lot about it, what the premise was or anything. But it was cool enough, I guess.
I don't really remember it.
So was it
like 6 o'clock in the morning on Fox?
See, I wasn't up at that time, but I do remember it coming on at some point in the afternoons after school. And I guess weren't the gargoyles like where they go and help people or something? What was the premise?
I've never seen it.
They were the gargoyles they were guardians of a Scottish castle. So they would come alive during the night and they would guard the castle. But then during the daytime, whenever the sun hit them, they would freeze. They would turn
Right.
to stone. And they got betrayed and they got trapped for like 1,000 years or something like that. So eventually they're kind of reborn, but they're in New York City. Their castle actually got bought. The character's name was David Xanatos, and Jonathan.
Did you write the show?
I'm saying, I'm like, what? Googling this?
You guys have known me long enough to. You guys have known me long enough to know. You guys know I memorize weird stuff.
He knows some random stuff. I'll tell you that.
But the character David Xanatos was actually voiced by Jonathan Frakes right before he got on with Star Trek: The Next Generation, and so they had a couple.
Number two.
Yes, they had a couple of guest spots. Marina Sirtis, who
one of those
played
a minute
Counselor
ago.
Deanna Troy, actually did voiced another one of the characters. But one of the characters, the main character named Goliath, was voiced by David Keith, who also did the voice of Spawn on the original HBO TV show.
Mm-hmm.
David Keith or Keith David?
Keith David. I'm sorry, David Keith's my uncle. I always get them.
Yeah, he's from. Yeah, I met him on the ship when they was filming Behind Enemy Lines.
Oh, that's cool.
Really?
Yeah.
He a pretty cool guy.
Yeah, he's from Tellico.
Really?
He was born in Tellico. You see, back in the 80s and the early 90s, he used to be on the sidelines for the Tennessee Vols games.
Yeah.
And then they, for some reason, when Philip Fulmer took it over, he stopped letting like guests like that be on the sidelines.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I'll tell you this much, Matt, as much as you love the X-Files, I love Star Trek: The Next Generation just that much. And him talk, let me say this, and I'll probably catch some slack from this, but I'm a bigger Star Trek fan than I am a Star Wars fan.
What?
And trust me, I love Star Wars, but now I'm probably a bigger Trekkie than I am a Star Wars fan. Praise God.
God, right. God.
No way, man.
Well, I remember, Corky, you and I used to discuss it whenever the new episodes of Next Generation would come out.
Oh yeah, I lived out in the country, out in going toward Madisonville. Couldn't get nothing but one channel on some coat hanger, antenna I built. But I watched Star Trek: The Next Generation so much, and I remember when the last episode come on, put my tape in the VCR so I could record it, and it was called "All Good Things Must Come to an End." And I remember sitting there watching that last episode. When it went off, I was like, where does life go now? Because I've seen all these episodes. What do I do now? But man, I love that show. I still love that show today.
Corky lived in Madisonville on the corner of Nowhere and Fast.
Dude, I live so far out in the country, man. You walk outside and be knocking Bigfoot off your front porch, man. I live so far out there. So Dusty, you've been out there. Remember when Dusty made the white snake video out there at the campfire?
That was my house. That was my house.
Was that at your house?
That was my house, yeah.
What time? Who was it peed on the fire that we was camping out and made the video?
That was at my house. That was Dusty. Peed on it for like 5 minutes.
Well, he done it again in the woods behind my house. He made another one.
What you're talking about was that night where Dusty ate it was you, Dusty, and somebody else ate the bad deer meat and got sick.
Yeah. Jeremy Martin had dug it out of the back of his pickup. He had like a cooler or something.
Why isn't every time you puke, it's got something to do with Jeremy Martin, bro?
Man, because he always listen. I'll tell you this much about Jeremy Martin. Jeremy Martin, listen, I failed the first grade because who fails the first grade? What, can I not color inside of the lines or something?
Fit the pegs in the right holes.
Listen, and it was because Jeremy Martin wouldn't leave me alone in class. He always got me talking and kept me in trouble. I failed the first grade because of Jeremy Martin.
So clearly, his white carpet needed to be puked on.
That was revenge, dude. That was an act of vengeance.
Paying him back. But Jeremy Martin is why I failed the first grade. I remember when they told me, hey, we're going to hold you back. I was like, it's because Jeremy kept me in trouble all the time.
But did he pass or did he fail?
Yeah, he passed. I was the only one that failed.
He left you in the.
Hey, wait a minute.
How did you wind up in the same grade then?
Wait a minute.
because he failed later on down the road and caught up with me.
That's what I was going to say, because Martin he had failed somewhere because he had a full-grown beard in the 5th grade. And I was like, wait a minute.
Here's how it went. Daniel and Matt and you guys were actually about a year younger than me.
Yeah.
So I was in school first, and I was with Jeremy, Mitchell, and that whole crew there. Well, it started with me. I failed the 1st grade, so then I dropped back to you guys, right? And that's how I got in your class. Well, you go on to the 4th grade, that's when Mitchell and Jeremy failed. Then that's how they got in our class, because they all failed the 4th grade. But yes, I failed the 1st grade.
Because I've got an annual where Mitchell was a year ahead of us.
Yeah, he failed the 4th grade, and that's how he got in our class now. That's how all that happened, because we all failed some grades. You know, nowadays kids don't fail, but back in the day, they just fail your butt if you couldn't color right. And I don't guess.
I mean, because they had Head Start, and then no child left behind. I mean, somebody's losing ground somewhere.
Listen, I'll tell you one story about me in the 1st grade, and I believe this is the moment that I failed the 1st grade.
When you did the nunchucks?
No, that was in the 3rd grade. That was later on. But I remember, listen, it had to be around something to do with America, because I was coloring a picture of Betty Ross, right? And this picture of Betty Ross, she's sitting in a rocking chair sewing the American flag, right?
About Betsy Ross.
Betsy Ross, yeah. Yeah, that's
Betty Ross.
I mean, that has something to do with it as well.
She lived down the
street for a reason. So, all right.
She lived down the street. That Betty Ross.
So here's the story. I'm coloring Betsy Ross, right? So I get to her skin, and you know what? I was too poor to have the 64 color crayon pack. All I had was 12 crayon pack, right? So in my crayon pack, I didn't have a white crayon. So I remember thinking this. I had a teacher called Miss Hopper. She hated me. She probably hates me to this day, because Jeremy Martin kept me in trouble in there all the time.
Oh, yeah.
But anyhow, I was sitting there, and I remember thinking, okay, what am I going to color her skin, because I don't have a white crayon?
Wasn't it on a white piece of paper?
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
Didn't you have peach or orange?
No, I didn't have no peach. But what I thought I would do is I thought, okay, I'm going to take this orange and I'll color it real light, and it'll look like peach if I just color it real lightly.
She's been laying in the tanning bed.
She comes around. She said, now keep in mind, I knew that she needed to be colored peach or white. I knew that, but I was trying to make it happen with what I had, you know? So not only did it show, hey, this kid's so poor, he can't afford to color crayons, but he's trying, you know? So I color her skin in real light with the orange, and she comes by and she goes, what color are you coloring her skin? I said, well, I'm trying to make this orange look like skin color. She said, how do you expect to make orange look like skin? There ain't nobody orange around here. It's like, and I looking at it, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to make this the best way I can do it. And she looked at me and she just shook her head, and I thought that's the moment I failed the 1st grade, because I didn't have the color Betsy Ross's skin. And I could only afford the 12 crayon pack. I couldn't afford the 64.
Hey, was it the rose art?
Let me give you an update.
No, it was Crayola, I guess, but
you know, Crayola.
Yeah,
as a history lover, she failed you because you was calling this chick Betty, not Betty. Dude, I would
back in the day, I may have been said Betty, not Betty. But
I'd have put your house up, be like, look, this kid deserves to have no children. He should never be able to vote.
Here's my point, though. Kids shouldn't fail the 1st grade because they can't afford the right color of crayons, man.
Yes.
You couldn't do nothing else, bruh. If you can't color, you got to go.
Well, hey, man, maybe I was being creative, you know, and maybe I identified her as an orange person. I don't know.
You should have said, I'm a color.
But here's what it boils down to. I failed the 1st grade because I was poor, man.
She said, who you colored? You said Betty Ross. She said, no.
I had everything else. Red stripes white. I had the white stripes right. but I couldn't get her skin right. And I never
Well,
look.
see, that's the problem. You left the stripes white. You didn't like try to gray them up and be like, hey, well, maybe it's a little off white.
I don't know what
Why
I'm
do you
saying.
even? Why
So
do
y'all
you even
sound
gotta
like Miss
color her
Austin
anyway?
right now. Huh?
Why do you even have to color her skin anyway? It's on a white piece of paper. She's a
You know
white
she was
chick.
pasty, like gravy.
No, for some reason I thought I needed to color her skin. I couldn't let it go. I'm 46 years old and I still remember the struggle I had sitting there trying to figure out how to color her, man.
Listen,
And
that's
Betsy
sad.
Frost is a patriot that walked uphill both ways every
Yeah.
day of the year going to school, and it snowed every day. She couldn't get no sun, Corky.
I know it, man.
She's in there making the American flag by hand. She ain't got no time to get out in the sun.
No sewing machine.
God, I hated school so bad, man. I never will forget.
Oh, man.
You know what sucks so bad about being in school is like
That
number
we're taking
one.
the teacher's side.
Yeah, we don't expect nothing else with you guys because you think it's funny that I failed the first grade, but I don't think it's funny. But I tell you another memory I had. What was worse? Anything worse about being in school was when you were poor being in school.
Yes. Remember us being on free lunch?
Class.
I was on free lunch too, man. I was in there with
Lunch. I got
Yeah.
free lunch, man. But what would
I just played
the
my little free.
substitute teacher would come, and every morning they'd be rolling off, how you gonna pay for your lunch? And you know what? I knew as soon as I come in and sat down, and I seen the substitute sitting there, she's gonna dime me out for getting free lunch.
Yep.
So she's
Every
going
time.
down. She's going down the list. Cody, he takes his money up there. So and so, they take their money up there. Corky, and I'm like, charge. 'Cause I'm not, you know? So that's
No,
the only way you get out of it was to say charge.
Well, but here's the thing, man. All right, now it's mandatory to go to school. I gotta pay for my food. You're making me be here. You can't provide me a sandwich.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. And you at least don't call the kids out to get free lunch, man.
Yeah, that
And,
was.
and this is the same people that gives you corn with pizza.
Yeah.
Like they didn't put a lot of thought into this. What the hell am I going to do with
salad.
some corn?
And
Salad
salad.
with rich dressing, man.
Yeah, who eats that?
Let me tell you, I got a story. Okay, well, it was third, fourth grade. Okay, and you had this one lunch lady that was a nightmare. I can't remember what her name was, but she was a freaking nightmare.
No.
And I walked down there, and they used to give you seconds on stuff, right?
Yeah.
They had some mashed potatoes, and they had some really good mashed potatoes down there. Okay. I took it to the table, and it was mashed potatoes and peas and like chicken or something. I ate my chicken, I ate my mashed potatoes, but I hated peas, right? So I walked back up there and I said, "Can I have seconds on mashed potatoes?" And that woman looked at me and she said, "You didn't clean your plate. You didn't eat your peas." And she said, "I'm not giving you anything until you come back with a clean plate." And I said, "I can do that." So I went back. And Justin Lee was sitting across the table from me. I said, "Here, man, take my peas." I scraped my peas out on him.
Well, man,
So I take my clean plate back up there, and I said, "Okay, can I have the mashed potatoes?" She said, "You've done been up here once." And I was like, "Yeah, but you sent me away. You told me to clean the plate." "No, you done been up here once. I done give you something." She said, I'm gonna give it to you this time, but don't you ever let me get you that." And I'm sitting there like, "What? I did what you wanted me to do."
I'm just trying to get some mashed potatoes, man.
Man,
And in-
I
and
did
in
what
school-
you wanted me to do.
And in school,
Plus, as hard
they
as I
weighed
eat-
13 pounds.
Yeah, it's not like
Like
I was
Inglewood,
a big guy. I needed the potatoes.
Well,
man.
here's the thing. What
like the
type of
Inglewood
person
version
tells a
of
kid
Oliver
no?
Twist, like, "Please, sir, may I have some more?"
What type of person tells a kid no when they're asking for some more food to eat, man?
And you know he's been on free
She
lunch
didn't
for
know
30
me.
years.
And you know he
Really?
gets free lunch.
No, I think at that point I was just on reduced. You remember the reduced lunch?
Yeah. Hey,
My lunch was 40 cents back then, bud.
yeah. Hey, listen.
More to eat there, and it did send a letter.
Hey, ultimate poor story though. Do you guys? I don't know. Now, let me. This will determine whether you guys was on my level of poor or not. Did you guys ever heard of Bloom Fund?
Yeah.
I've heard of it.
All right, listen. So Daniel, you ain't on my level. So when you were so poor at school, back in the day, this chick named something Mary Bloom, I think. This is just in Inglewood now. It's just an Inglewood thing. She died. She had a lot of money, and she died. And she left all of her money in this fund to buy clothes for poor kids that couldn't afford clothes. So every year at a certain time, the Bloom Fund, you'd put in for the Bloom Fund, and if you was poor enough, you got to go shopping for clothes. Well, I got it every year. And what's funny is they would come and get you out of class, and you remember like Holden Sporting Goods and when it was in town and stuff like that, they would take you there and you get probably $150 worth of clothes or whatever like that. But the funny thing was,
if you bought it at Holden's, then you just got a damn shirt then.
Yeah, you got some shoelaces and a pair of underwear probably. But
expensive.
I don't remember where it was, but I remember going to Holden's for something. But anyhow, you knew when Bloom Fund happened because one day you had all the kids, they in their chump clothes, whatever, and then the next day all the poor kids had on new clothes. and
you can't be laughing about that, man. That's dirty.
Let me tell you how Etowah City handled their business with free lunch. Used to back in the day when you was broke, they give you food stickers. You have little stamps you got to take up there, and they make sure you got the right one for the cheese, whatever. Well, now it's all on a card, right? You just scan that card.
Yeah.
Etowah City revolutionized that because they give us all little cards we had to keep up with. And you had to slide that card to tell everybody that you was getting a free lunch. So they didn't just be like, you couldn't just hide behind your buddy who's got $30 every day for his lunch. We had to carry a little card and like scan it through and stuff. So they all knew you was broke down there.
Man, I had a card like that. I had a card like that in high school. Did they have the same thing going on in high school?
I never had no card. I actually paid for my lunch in high school because I was too embarrassed.
I didn't start paying for my lunch in high school until I was a junior. But my freshman and sophomore year, I had a little card, and I scanned that card.
Yeah,
it's because you was still on reduced lunch, baby.
I was still on reduced, man. Now, at one point, it was free. I know it was free.
I always got free lunch.
Now, when I was in second or third grade, I mowed the neighbors' yards, for $10 a yard. But I wasn't going to spend that money on lunch. You're making me be here.
Yeah.
If I'm going to buy some lunch, I'm going to tell you what I want.
Yeah, yeah.
And I want pizza and corn every day.
And they wasn't no options back in our day. You just got what they had that day. Nowadays, they can get pizza or salad or whatever. Back in our day, you got what you got,
They give you two
things. There was two things, actually three things, in my opinion, at Inglewood School. For lunch, that was the bomb. Okay, so the pizza was awesome. Mm-hmm. Okay, then you had the mashed potatoes. I just loved the mashed potatoes. They were probably
chicken patty and mashed potatoes.
They're probably instant, which is why I liked them because that's all we had. We never ate a real freaking potato at my house. And then the rolls. Okay, turns out my wife's mama was a cook at one of the cooks in Inglewood, and she had the recipe for them rolls. That means as a kid, my wife got those rolls all the damn time, and they were good. I went to Central, and they had that dried up cornbread bull crap, and I thought, man, this sucks because rolls cornbread that was that good.
That wasn't cornbread. That was leftover hardtack from the Civil War.
God, that was bad crap. Whatever.
My favorite lunch day is when we had those steak nuggets with mashed potatoes and that barbecue sauce that went on.
Yeah.
Good,
listen, I would kill a family of 12 right now just to have one of those damn nuggets I could dip in some instant taters.
Oh, man, those were so good, man. Golly, bum, I'm hungry now. Dang.
Hey, listen, you give me the list of the people, the family you want dead, you show me the products. and I will make it happen, son, because it's good.
Matt, there's something behind you, buddy.
No, there's not.
I don't know about a family of 12. I've got
Whose turn is it on the wheel? We still spinning?
I think it's Matt's, I believe.
All right.
Who went last? It's Daniel. Okay, Matt's. All right, we'll do one more.
I got the freaking gargoyles.
Hey,
We'll
we
do
do
one
the
more
re-
before we.
Can we do the reduced wheel spin? Because we broke.
The reduced lunch wheel spin.
We're gonna do the free
half-
lunch
We only did
spin.
It's a half spin.
Yeah, the sound effect is
He don't even spin. He just turns the little tablet around. Oh, it spun. Check it out. 25 cents a finger push.
All right, let me
We'll
get
go
it
like
ready. All right, Matt, you ready?
Do it.
All right, let me find a good genre for you.
Love the sound effect.
All right, Hercules.
No, man, are we talking Kevin Sorbo?
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm
listen.
going to be honest with
Hey.
you. I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to defer my time to Dusty because I know this
Hey,
dude.
listen. Now listen. I watched that show every episode that they ever made of that and Xena the Warrior Princess at Daniel's house because that channel was on 24 hours a day in the living room, man. I've seen every episode they ever made.
So you and Travis, you and Dusty take over this one for me. I yield my time.
Listen, all I care. Listen, I was not a big fan of Xena. I was going through puberty at this time. Okay, she looked like Jay Leno to me, but she had this little sidekick, little blonde-headed chick. She was hot, and whoever that bad chick was that she was always fighting with, that blonde-headed girl, she's like the
Hudson
queen
Leak.
of the, huh?
Hudson Leak.
Hudson
All right.
Leak.
Hudson
Yeah,
Leak.
that-
She's the one that played Callisto.
Oh, well, it sounded like you were saying lick, and I was like, well, that's aptly named.
Well, that was the activity that came to mind when I saw her. But
Because that chick, listen, she put me over the edge, man. Like I thought I was going to be a big deal because I thought me and her is meant to be. Like Jesus has lined up the stars. She's in New Zealand. I'm in Inglewood. It's going to happen, you know. But I watched that show religiously, just hoping that I'd get to see her. But, yeah,
I don't think I ever
watched
seen an episode of it myself.
yeah, I think more. There were some people. Some people were really into the whole thing with Lucy Lawless. But yeah, Renee O'Connor, who played Gabrielle, I think she brought some of the non BDSM fans into the,
Hey, she
into
was
it.
good. She was
Well-
good times, man.
Yeah, and she didn't do anything else after that. Lucy Lawless went on to do. She was on the first couple of seasons of Spartacus whenever it came out on Showtime.
Yeah, she was in. She was the guy that owned the Gladiator School's wife.
Yep, and he was the one that played the
I
little
forgot about her.
cowardly. He was the one that played the little cowardly, the cowardly uncle or brother or whatever in the Mummy
The
movies.
Mummy. Yeah.
Yep.
And hey, and talk
The-
about night and day roles right there.
Oh yeah, God.
Because he
Yeah,
was a monster in Spartacus and what's the other one they about Gannicus? It was Gods of the Sand or something.
Gods of the Arena.
Yeah, that one. That's what I said.
Gods of the Arena.
Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
That's
that
what
was,
you said, yeah.
I liked it better than I did Spartacus, actually.
Well, because and two, I mean, they were able to keep the cast together because the
The
guy
guy
they
played
had playing
Spartacus died.
died, yeah, and then they had to recast him.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's why they did that. It's kind of like it's kind of like a prequel, wasn't it, for
Yeah.
before Spartacus and all that, and Crixus and all that. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's a good show. But I don't think without there wouldn't have been those shows if there hadn't have been Kevin Sorbo and Hercules, because there wasn't nobody talking about the stuff like that back then. It come out and then there was kind of like a little genre started forming up after that.
Yeah, and I think the appeal of the shows too, they never took themselves real serious. Like they were never like, this is hardcore Greek mythology. It was campy, it was goofy, it was I can remember sitting.
But more importantly, the chicks were works of art. All of
He ended
them.
up marrying
For
one
as
of them.
often as what those shows were on at my house, I don't remember one single episode of either one of them.
We know Kevin
I don't
Sorbo
remember you
ended up
ever
marrying.
being at the house when I was there at your house watching. Like I think you was outside playing with the kids, and I was in there, man. I hope when these people gonna get out of the bathroom?
Well, you're probably right about that. I was either babysitting or I was at work myself. So it was one of the two.
I don't know, man. I was like 13, 14 when it come out.
Okay, well, I wouldn't have been working then. I'd have been
I thoroughly
babysitting.
enjoyed that show.
Yeah, didn't Kevin Sorbo actually end up marrying I guess the last one, the girl that played the Golden Hind or something like that, it actually became his real life wife for a while. I don't know if they're still together or not.
Yeah, the guy that played Ares, he's dead. He
Yep.
fell off a ladder or something, I think. He said, no, maybe he killed himself. He might have. I think he died of lead poisoning.
I like how Travis and Dusty know like all the ins and outs of all these shows.
Well, if you want to hear something real fun, if you remember, he played Cupid, but very, very young Carl Urban.
Yeah.
Before.
Well, see, I'm not. It ain't that I'm a big movie fan. I like movies, but I'm more of an actress fan. Like I'll find good actors, good actresses, and then I follow them around until they, don't do a good job, whatever. But so some of the best movies I've seen is because I like certain actors, and I watched that movie because this guy was in it.
I do that. I'll get on an actor kick, and I'll just start picking all of the actors' movies and start watching.
Yeah, now some of them are.
You're going through Ron Jeremy's right now, right?
No.
Hey, I grew up in the golden age, buddy, in the 80s. Hey, let me tell you something.
Golden age of golden showers.
When I was a kid, my dad had a huge collection, man, and I stumbled across that, and I watched it every time I was home alone, son. And look, now his wife had come across the collection, and she's like, "Look, it's got to get out of my house." And he's like, "All right, man." He met me at work with this tote, and he's like, "She's making me get rid of them," and I figured I ought to give them to you. He had a tear in his eye, man. It was like giving me the heirloom of the family. And man, I still got them, man. I take care of them. Like I'm gonna pass them down to my kids.
Family porn.
Yeah.
Heirloom porn.
Wait a minute.
There might be a kid that I'm going to leave $1 and my unconditional love to, but man, is he going to have a collection on his hands? And there's probably some of them in there worth money. I mean, they from the 60s to last week. I mean, there's a lot in there.
I think Corky's muted, man.
Hey, Corky, you're on mute, bud.
Yeah, you killed it.
He's having a big old time, man. We couldn't hear a damn word.
Hey, I was doing a whole, we're going to end the show on that one. I was wondering why everybody kept talking over me.
I got holes, though. I got holes on the wheel tonight, man. You give me two dumb shows.
Hey, man, I didn't give you nothing. The wheel gave you what it wanted to give you, man.
Why does it always end the show on something off what I said? Like,
because that's just
hurry.
Because that's just how it works, and I got to pee real bad if you want to know the truth. And we're already going an hour and 18 minutes, so yeah, it's time to go. We love y'all.
Looking like Milli Vanilli.
I hate you guys. You know what? Every one of these podcasts ends up as a Corky bashing episode too, so it's going to come back on y'all.
Blame it on the rain.
Yeah.
It's probably
Do bash. We love y'all. Bye.